So one of the other problems I have with the child support system is the corruption, about how it's made out to be that they're helping children, but it's not necessarily that they don't help children in the process, but it's a front for the corruption and what their objective truly is. There are countless child support employees that have spoke out about this, about what their actual objective is. And of course, there's gonna be some good to come out of it. It is the only way that they can have the operation function without being dismantled. They have to, help some kids, but the corruption is next level. Check this out.
Divorce and separation, but early on I realized that the system was not designed to be child friendly. No friendship nor honest conciliation were ever allowed in the family justice system between caseworkers and clients. It was all about money. How to get the federal and state tax dollars that were allotted each case for enforcement. In fact, our director would say regularly, "We aren't the friend of the family, we're the friend of the court." We stumbled over ourselves trying to get more Title 4D cases on our records and to increase the child support orders because the federal government granted huge allotments for each case we enforced. In the years I worked in the system, I witnessed regular deception to clients that was mandated by office policy. I saw gender bias and discrimination. I saw records destroyed. I saw office policies and rules change from week to week for the profit of the agency. I saw hundreds of pleas for parenting time or enforcement get buried because there is no money in enforcing custody or visitation issues. Increasing the child support money that came into our offices was the goal for each of us. We were rated according to how much money we brought in through asset seizures, income garnishment, court hearings, warrant issue. We wrote the orders and then we enforced them.
And she brings up a good point because, and this kind of ties into the deadbeat dad narrative. Every time I've ever had this conversation with someone, and they're like, "Well, men aren't taking care of their kids," and yada yada. I said, "Well, men aren't incentivized to take care of the kids. Not that men should need to be incentivized to take care of their kids, but the court does the opposite." Now, what do I mean by that? There was a time, I remember there were kids I used to go to school with. This goes all the way back when the dinosaurs roamed the earth. But there were kids I used to go to school with. Whenever the topic, the conversation of dads would come in, I would hear that I knew men, boys that I went to school with and girls who we got to talking about how often we see our father, and it's very common that the response would be that my dad sees me every other weekend. And then you sit there and you dig in and you say, well, then you find out, oh, well, this father's actually spending a lot of his money trying to get more visitation. So, but the courts are only awarding him every other weekend, no matter how hard the father would fight. And we pretend that things are so much better now. I mean, they've gotten better, but not that much. It is still, as a father, you have to jump through hoops in order to get the same rights that the mother has, and that's not right. That's not right. But it's tied into all of this corruption and how the system. Their main objective is to have a situation where they can monetize people's misfortune or whatever you want to call it, people's bad decision. I don't care what you want to call it. But the courts have created a system where they are incentivized to come up with the solution where everybody can get money, where the courts can get paid, because they try to act like they don't. They get paid on the back end a lot of the times, so the judges it'll be lumped into their retirement or for whatever. And so there are things, so there are so many ways that if you go and you look, I've researched this. If you go and you just look on the surface, and it looks like, yo, they're not making, they're just using this money to pay for the program, the child enforcement or child um, the job and family services and all that type of stuff right there, where they actually help kids. But when you really dig deep, now of course it's not going to look like that on the front, right? Nothing where there's corruption looks like that on the front. But when you dig in, you start to understand that the whole reason that this system exists is so that they can make money. That's truly what it is. They don't care about our kids. They care, but not in that way. They only care because they can make money off of it. You have to. I mean, all you gotta do is look at these courtrooms, man. Just look. They got to pay all these lawyers, all these judges, all this. They got to pay also, and they just it's become a cesspool, and that's what they're mainly concerned with. Their main concern, in fact, I would say they care more about making a buck than they do about what's in the best interest for the child.